Okay, so here we go. So tonight we are going to do. How was the hors d'oeuvres tonight, by the way? Were they good? How about the chicken fritter things? Do you like them?
The grilled cheese, man.
I know, I like those too. So here we go. We're gonna do the appetizer. We're gonna start with an appetizer. That's what we'll cook first. It's the fresh mussels stewed with leeks, celery, onions, turnips, and bacon. Really nice little twist on it for St. Patty's Day with the Guinness beer. It comes out nice. We're gonna do an Irish cheddar and shop ale cheese soup. We're gonna have corn boneless short rib dinner with Brussels sprouts, tricolored carrots, and fingerling potatoes. The tricolored carrots presented a little bit of a problem. When we cooked them the first time, I accused the staff of not putting the tricolored carrots in. Then we cooked them the second time and I watched them put them in, but no tricolored carrots came out. So the carrots bleed out and they just turn into carrots after you boil them. So we're going to put a little twist on it. What we did is we roasted them and then added them into the stew so that they held their color a little bit. So it was a good learning experience for us. And then we're going to finish up with a whiskey Irish bread pudding with a whiskey sauce. Now we've got some people here tonight, I think, where are they, that are helping us out with the, I haven't met them yet. Are they here? With the Irish whiskey? I'm sorry, I haven't, no, I thought there was someone else coming.
My wife?
From the Irish whiskey plant in Boston. But the Irish whiskey that we have, excuse me, is brought over, correct me if I'm wrong, it's brought over in casks and then bottled in Boston, but it's from Irish Mist.
And I was sampling the Irish Mist whiskey, and we also have the South Boston whiskey, Irish whiskey, which comes over from Ireland in bulk from their barrels, and then they do additional aging in barrels here in South Boston, and that's the South Boston Irish whiskey, which gives it a different, more wood to the Irish whiskey, which is a little more unique.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to be cooking with that tonight too. So
Excellent.
let you know. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Should have. Okay. So all right. Let's see what we can get going. We're gonna start with the mussels. All right. All right. We're gonna do this with Guinness. Everyone remembers Ashley, right? Ashley makes me look good. Thank you very much. I'm just going to cut right on here. Let me take this out of here. Here you go. All right, so what we've got here tonight, to start off with, I've got some turnip that I've already peeled. I've got a little bit of bacon here, celery, leeks, red potato, and mussels. I really like these. My father's here tonight. He's going to love these. These are just really tiny mussels. They're local mussels. I harvested, I'm not sure, I can't remember the beaches that they said they harvested them on, but it comes through Red's Best, a person that a group in Boston. They just had a big write-up in the Boston Globe about them. We've been using them for a year now. Great results. It's all small local guys, and I keep promoting them. I love the guys, so they do a great job. So I'm going to heat this pan up. I'm going to get started. I'm just going to start with a little bit of butter in here. What's that, about a walnut size there? And I'm going to get that down. I've got some celery here that was already sliced for me. I'm just going to dice it up. I don't know if you guys can see any of that. Some turnip. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to slice it. The turnip is going to take the longest to cook. And I'm going to cut it real small. You can just do it in a machine if you want to. And I'm just going to saute that in that little bit of butter. Now, if this is your first time at the show, we use some salt and pepper. It's about that much. We used about that much turnip. And we're going to use about this much chopped celery. Okay? It's how we do everything. If you come to the restaurant, we make everything to order, and everything to order is made just like that. It's made to order. It's a lot of feel that goes into the food here, and we're proud of that. We really strive to keep that going, rather than have all these pre-measured things, stuff you can just throw in the microwave for a second. We like to keep it fresh and made to order, and about that much red onion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute that down. And, oh, I haven't planned for that. I'm going to turn that down. So I'm going to go ahead and put the beer in here anyways to calm that.
Yeah, remember the fire?
Yes, that was an epic episode. We had, I wanted to put on a little show and have a little flame, and I started talking and really wasn't paying attention to how hot the pan got. And I put the oil was in there, and I added the brandy or whatever it was, and engulfed the whole area. Went up, and there was nothing there. We lit the whole restaurant, and the people in the first row smelled like burnt hair. And now you guys are far away, and it was pretty bad. I've also got some bacon here, which I don't want to crisp up. That's why I'm putting it in later. I want to just render the fat out of this. I don't know. We have an angle we can see that. Am I on TV?
Yeah, you can see it on the TV.
Can you? Cool. We're getting better, aren't we? Yes, I'd like to welcome Jim and his wife, Angela. I won't remember your name next time either. I'm still remembering Jim's. It's written down right here. And so I'm just melting that bacon in there. I've got leeks here. I'm going to use the for this one. I'm going to use the white part. And I'm going to just slice those real thin. And the idea is you don't want to saute these so that they get brown, and you just like them to melt a little bit. And so I've got them cut real thin, and I'm going to add them in here to the brew going here. Can you see that? That's pretty good. Now the salt, I'm going to put a little bit more salt in here. What the salt does is it helps sweat them down and cook them a little faster by pulling the moisture out of it. All right? Mussels, about this many. That's one of those little bags at the store. Now you can cover them if you want, but I like to cook them a little bit slower. That way the vegetables can continue to cook, the bacon continues to melt. Am I losing heat? No. Yeah, can you smell that? Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do to clean and prepare the mussels?
These mussels were pre-washed, so we wash them again. And these are also bearded, so sometimes there's mussels on there that there's a little beard, they call it a beard, where they attach to the rock. Sometimes those are on there, but these have all been done, so that I didn't even have to do that on this batch. Sometimes they come in just full of it, and other times there's not. So these were actually really good. Like I said, they're real small, much better when they're small like that, and they cook faster. So we wait for them to open, and then when we already cooked some, and there was no beards, so there was really nothing to do. Can you see them popping open? I have to see what you guys are seeing. I'm curious. Oh, that's pretty good.
Is that all right?
All right, so you see how they're starting to pop open. Personally, I like the mussels cooked a little bit longer than a lot of people. A lot of people like them so as soon as they open. I like to cook them down a little bit and let them cook a little bit past that point where they're so that there's a little bit of texture to them. Otherwise, they're really soft. All right, pretty close. So this is it. Did I forget anything? You guys are supposed to be checking me. I think that's it. All right. All right, how were the mussels? Good, good. So listen, I just want to tell you again about those mussels. Those come from local people, local fishermen that go out that day and gather them. This Red's Best program that we're involved with it's great because it does. Small guy goes out in a boat that day with fishing rods, and that's how he's making his living, and he's fishing. And he's catching those fish, and he's taking them into a market that's giving them a fair price, the same price that they get at the big boats get at the big houses. And it's great because when they send us that fish, it comes with a little QR code. You can take a picture of that QR code with your phone, and it'll show you the fisherman on his boat. He's just, and it's real money, really stays local. And it's all like day boat fish, so there's nothing out there for 30 days at sea when it comes in. It's a great program. The reason I want to mention that is we're also trying to do the same thing. We're actually starting another one with a local produce company. We haven't worked it all out yet, but we hope that this summer we'll be doing that with the farms as well. And so we're going to be trying to pilot that where the actual farmer, everybody says they want to do farm to table, but we're trying to make it happen. So he's going to be out there and he's going to say, this is what I've got. He's going to call me and say, do you want it? And I buy it straight direct from the farms while he's out there. So it's a pretty good program. I hope we can get it kicked off, but if not, we're going to start it this year anyways. We'll see how it goes, but we'll keep you posted on that as we move further. But we're going to go ahead and do the second course, which is an Irish cheddar soup, Irish cheddar beer soup. We changed the beer to Wachusett Quince. I don't know what it said on the thing, but Wachusett, again, it's local, so let's use the local guys. And the Quince beer is going to work good for it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pan hot. Let's get started. And in the true, I'm half Irish and I'm half Italian. So I struggle between butter and olive oil. But today we're using butter, okay? My cousin Kevin is here, and I said, do we have any Irish memories, great Irish memories? I mean, what are we? And we're sitting there, they all start off with beer. I don't remember. So here we go. So I've got some butter going here. Again, I'm gonna start off with the carrots. The carrot is the hardest vegetable, so it's gonna take the longest to cook. And I'm just gonna make some. I'm just gonna dice it up here. All right. That much. Right in there. Again, I'm going to go back to the salt again. Salt and pepper right onto the vegetables that's cooking. Turn this down a little bit. And let that simmer. I've got some celery here that I'm going to do the same thing with. And we're going to sweat that down a little bit. So, while that's going, use this here. And you can see that. Got here chicken stock. The chicken stock is one that we make. Long process, and we use up all the extra pieces of chicken and everything. So, but it's good. So we're gonna start off with the chicken stock in here. Adding it. All right, good. I turned it down slow because we don't want to steam out, and I'm gonna let that come to a boil. I'm also gonna add some of this. He gave me a lot. Okay? And I've already messed up. Okay. So, while that's cooking and heating up, I need a little saute pan. Do we have one of those? Typically what I would do is I would start a roux, but I'm nervous. So I forgot it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a roux in another pan, and I'm going to add it to this while it's heating up. Okay, a roux is flour and oil, equal parts. I'm going to make a blonde roux, which basically cooks to the, almost like toasted almond. It starts smelling like a little bit like almonds when it's ready. The kitchen's a really long way away too. She ran. Thank you. This is good. Oh, I'll use this one. Thanks. So a roux. I'm going to start with butter again. And what the roux does is the roux tightens up and thickens will thicken the soup a little bit. Make sure that's still on. I wonder if I'm running low on gas. So I've got oil here, or flour. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in it. Flour into the butter. And what happens with the roux is when you add roux to a stock, it looks lumpy. It's going slow. Nothing's happening. Then all of a sudden, when the stock hits 180 degrees, it thickens just like that. And so I want to add a little bit of roux at a time as it goes. Wow. Are you guys seeing this on there too?
Yep.
Well, this is odd.
Pie crust.
Yeah, well, the butter's still melting too. Needs a little bit more. That one's getting close too. So while that's hot, I'm even going to add some of the cream now to this to cool it. Okay. So there's your roux. In Louisiana, they cook it to black, and it's a dark roux. And the dark roux, they actually call it Cajun napalm. It's so hot. You get it on you. I've been there. It's terrible. And the only reason I remember that is because I just got some on my thumb. All right, so I'm starting to smell the almond a little bit. So that's done. So there's my roux. This is boiling, so it's already at 180 degrees. I'm just going to add a little bit of the roux in. Soup is really easy. It's going to take it all. All right, so we've got a great start going here. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I've got shredded cheddar cheese. Okay, and I'm just going to add this. Now this is going to want to thicken really fast. So I'm adding a little bit. I don't know if you can see it from that angle, but the cheese is still whole in the sauce. You can put as much or as little as you want. I want to get it to the consistency that I like, and then I'll try it. Now you want to keep it moving, because once it starts to thicken, the cheese sticks on the bottom, the cream sticks on the bottom, everything starts to stick, and you end up scorching it really fast. So you want to just keep it moving, but it doesn't take long. This is so much better than opening a can. It really is, and it doesn't take any longer. And really, this is it. Okay? We have soup. Perfect. All right, so here's the soup. I'm going to just ladle that in there. Can you smell that?
Yeah.
Garnish it with a little bit of cheese right up on there. And serve it with a beer. And oyster crackers or Irish soda bread. We should have had that tonight, huh? Poor planning. Who's in charge of that? All right, so there's the soup. We're going to get it ready for you, and we'll move on. All right, we're going to do the next course, which is our twist on corned beef, boiled corned beef dinner, corned beef hash, not hash, corned beef boiled dinner, right? I've only made this a couple of times up until this time, so we really started. I wanted to come up with something a little bit different, so we wanted to do the boneless short ribs, and that's what we've got here. And then there was a big argument over gray or red corned beef, and we settled on the gray because of all the nitrate that it takes to make the red. We're just, why, so we went with the gray, and it's a far better product. So that's what we're doing here, anyways. So let's start with the corn with what we do. What you want to do is with the corned beef, you want to season it for about. We did ours for 5 days. We marinated it for 5 days, and what we did was we took the corned beef or the beef ribs, and we boiled a pound of salt water per gallon of water. I mean a pound of salt per gallon of water, and soaked it in that with what we used was pickling spice. So what we're going to do is we take the corned beef, okay, put it into the pan, and this is you want to boil the water, then put it in the refrigerator and cool it cold, because you don't want to cook the meat when you put the salt on it, so you have to let it cool. So that's what we've done. And I'm just going to put in enough there to cover over the top of it, and I'm putting in again. Can you guys see this? Yeah. It's pretty good. So I'm just putting in enough to cover it over, and adding the spice. Okay. Good enough. So really, that's all. Yeah, take that. Thank you. That's all you have to do. And so you're going to let this sit for, like I said, we did it for 5 days before we cooked it. When you get there, after 5 days, just wrap it up and put it away. This is what we came up with. Okay? So after 5 days, we've got the beef that's been corned, if you will. Wow, what a smell. Okay? And so that's the corned beef. All right. Now, when we cook it, we're gonna just start off with just water. The water's boiling. We'll get the vegetables ready. We use, like I said, the multicolored carrots. This is what they look like when you boil them. Doesn't matter what color they are. That's what they come out. Okay, so we saved some, but all the roasted ones got put in what you guys are getting tonight, and I think we even lost the color on those too. So we'll bring the water to a boil, and we're going to add the corned beef and cook it. When the corned beef is cooked, it's going to, we're going to take we actually took the corned beef out and set it aside and let it set for a little while. And this is what it ended up looking like. Isn't that planned? We've got the finished corned beef. Look at how tender that is. Okay? Pretty quick. So we're going to use the Brussels sprouts, the potatoes, and the dual-colored carrots. Let me see where my knife is. So the Brussels sprouts, just to cook them a little faster, we'll take the ends off and split them in half, all right? All right. The carrots, the potatoes, I'm going to put the potatoes in. This is not quite boiling, but you get the idea. And we're going to add the Brussels sprouts. So I'll do that real quick. Peel off the bad leaf. So it's cabbage, potatoes, and the carrots. And what we'll do is we'll bring those to a boil, we'll cook them. The meat has already been cooked in the water, so you're going to have all the broth and the brine. Did I skip that part? Because that's where I got to here. I'm trying to do this in stages, but so what you want to do is you want to cook this in the broth, in the water, then you want to take it out and you're going to have a broth. So assuming that that's broth, and then we're going to add this beef to it and bring it to a boil so that, all right, so I'll take this short rib, boneless short rib, and I'm just going to split it into portions. And then add it into the broth to reheat it. And so this is right at service. So you can get everything done and ready ahead of time. All right, so we're just going to go with this, all right? Because it's wonderful anyways. So what we've got is we've got the boiled dinner with the ribs in there, boneless short rib, the carrots, the potatoes, the Brussels sprouts.
Doing it that way, you don't lose the color of the carrots.
No, I already lost it. That's the problem. We lost the color of the carrots. So yeah, and then the Brussels sprouts. This actually, I can smell it already. That's coming up already it's pulling the flavor already. So in the end, we end up with the finished product. Wow. And that's it, a boiled dinner. What a struggle.
That's where they keep their, that's it. It's their
All right, so that was dinner, and we're going to get started with the whiskey bread pudding. We have the two whiskeys in-house. Mark had some, and he brought it in here to share. this is the South Boston Irish whiskey. I confused the two of them. So this is the one we're going to use tonight because we're going to start carrying this. It's really good. It's got a hint of anise. Is it something in there? We're going to let everybody anyone that wants to try it. It's the additional wood. Okay, but it's really something. And so it's not local because it's shipped over from Ireland, but it's actually bottled in South Boston. So seems very appropriate for today. And I'm going to go ahead and cook with that. And there's also some, if anybody wants to try some with dessert, we can definitely make that happen. So, but let's get on with the dessert. All right. So we've got bread pudding. For this recipe, traditionally, not traditionally, but most of the time when I make bread pudding, I use the leftover bread from the restaurant, but this is just better with plain loaf, white loaf bread, okay? So that's what we're going to use. But to get it started, I'm going to use a little bit of beer, okay? And then to carry that beer flavor and make it right through the whole pudding, I'm just going to use like a teaspoon of yeast, okay? And I'm just going to dissolve that yeast in the beer. Good. I'm going to add these eggs. I've got about a dozen eggs here. I checked with Mark. Mark is our in-house Alton Brown. He knows everything about everything. And we went, so here's what it broke down to after we compared our notes. We did it both ways. The first batch of beef, we did a half a pound of salt per gallon of water, and we did it for 6 days. But we did this batch with a pound of salt for 3 days. So that was the difference. And we actually liked this better. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but we liked the way it came out this way better. That's it. So now I'm going to whisk all those eggs and yeast and beer together. I'm going to add some sugar, just a little bit, because you really want to sweeten it. You know how much sugar is in a cola? It's just a little. I know, but you only have dessert once. I'm going to put a little more in there. All right. And I'm going to use some half and half. You can use milk, but why? Okay, so that's a quarter, half and half, all right? Now when we give this to you, after we cook it, all the calories and everything cook right out of it, so. All right, and I'm just going to take the bread and I'm going to just pull it apart and throw it in here. And it's going to soak up all of the, you know what, I'm looking at this and I don't have a big enough container. And so, if you use an older bread, you might want to just add the cream or the milk or the half and half, whatever it is that you might be using. You may want to add that the night before and let it soak in the refrigerator overnight, and it dries it up. I mean, it soaks it up real good. But where we're using this fresh loaf bread, and I just like this. I like this loaf bread better for this recipe. But that's right. You guys can see all this. Yep. Oh yeah. I'm going to put, Ashley helped me remember, I'm just going to put a little bit of vanilla in here. Okay? And mix that in good. Some people like to put nutmeg or cinnamon. And depending on the bread pudding you're making, that works. But we're gonna make a whiskey sauce to go over this that it'd just be lost. You don't need it. And then you're gonna put this in the casserole. Like I said, we made too much. Okay, so I've got enough here to make 2, but I don't have 2 casseroles. And that's it. All right. Then we're going to put this in the oven and bake it at about 300 degrees covered, and just use the toothpick test. If it's coming out, you know, that's how I do it. We make them in, you can make it thick, you can make it thin. The yeast really comes out of it, and it'll really start to smell beery. Pull it off and brown it for about 5 minutes. Turn the oven up just a little bit when it's done, and then it's ready to go whenever. You can serve it warm, you can nuke it, put it in the microwave for a second, tomorrow, whatever. So we're going to bake it off, and then this is what it's going to look like. Okay, do you see that? Am I in the right spot? So it comes out looking nice. Now, the sauce, we're going to start with butter. Got to keep it healthy, right? So the sauce, I'm going to get a little bit of butter going, and again, we're going to go back to the whole idea of roux. And I'm just going to add a little bit of flour in there and make a roux. That works. So this time I'm making the roux first. How about that? I'm going to add a little bit more flour. It's generally about equal parts. All right. At this point, we're not going to use the Irish whiskey. We're going to use the South Boston Irish whiskey. For you folks in the front, I'm going to turn the fire off, and then I'm going to add the whiskey. All right. That's cooking the roux. I'm going to add some half and half. Ooh, you can smell that. Now the liquor just cooked off. I don't know if you could see it. I couldn't see it from here with that light in front of me, but I could feel it. And a little bit of sugar. Again.
Just a little.
But I'm only gonna put a little on a little bit of bread pudding. Again, a little bit of vanilla. Now I'm gonna wait till this, like I said, it comes up to 180 degrees and it will thicken. And I think it's going to be a little bit thick, and I have the perfect item to thin it with. All right. Well, come on. So it's thickening on the outside here. Now, a little trick. This is a little bit too thin. I didn't make enough roux. This is wet, and I'm just rolling it in the flour. Okay? And I'm just going to add a little bit more flour in that way. You never know what's going to work. See that? And we're going to add a little bit more of the whiskey.
I'll let it burn off.
No, that's why I added it afterwards. I do want a little bit of the, I do like the alcohol. What can I say? All right, and so that while that's cooking down a little bit, I'll get a little dish here. And just a little bit. Spring is here. I know you don't believe it yet, but it's here, and we will have fresh blueberries local. These are not, but we're going to put a little bit of sauce. Say when? And some blueberries, and we have dessert. And that is real simple, but I got to tell you, you're going to love it. All right? You can pass this around if anyone wants to try it. Left something out. I'm supposed to say thank you all for coming out on St. Patrick's Day. And happy St. Patrick's Day. My cousin Patrick is the guest of honor here. He's the Irish Patrick over there. Yeah. He's not here tonight, but his brother Kevin is. That was perfect. What's that? I don't know when the next one is. I think they're trying to tell me next month, but we'll see. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But we've got a lot of Sunday. We've got a lot of things going on. Who worked tonight? Sarah and Matt, and who else? Stephanie was out here tonight. So, you know, they did a great job tonight. Don't forget to tip them real good because they got to put up with me. They don't get to they get to see the other side of me, not this wonderful personal side of me, you know. So, but thank you all again. Thank you.